Good evening. Let us be very honest with one another. Much that passes for awakening is only the beginning of the beginning, an emotional jag, a season of fireworks, lights, sensations, tears, a sense of expanded space these come, and with them a combustible zeal to tell it, to describe it, to pin it to the bulletin board of one's memory. Do you see? That is the awakening phase. It serves its purpose, as spring serves the seedling. But spring is not harvest. Do you follow that? The common confusion is this. We mistake intensity for realization. We believe that because we have felt something tremendous, we have become something steady. Yet realization is never proven by our fireworks. It is proven by fruitage. The Master gave the test without adornment. By their fruits ye shall know them, not by their visions, not by their vocabulary, by their fruits. If in the wake of your awakening, the problems of daily life, health concerns, supply, relationships, the unkind word on the street begin to yield more quickly and more gently, if your presence becomes a place of rest for others, if your nights grow more quiet and your mornings less anxious, then you may know you have crossed a line. Real living has begun. When the true shift comes, experience quiets. Life deepens. There is less to say and more to be. The storms still pass over the sea, but the sea in you is no longer stirred to frenzy at every cloud. Be still and know that I am God. Not be excited and know. Be still and know. You discover an inward dependability. People find you and, without requiring an explanation, breathe easier because you carry no longer the hot spark of excitement, but the steady warmth of a hearth. My conversation, then, is usually limited to, I will help you, not an essay in metaphysics, not a parade of truths. I will help you. And you discover in that quiet promise, something acts, problems yield, peace abides, you become dependable. Now, please do not suppose that real living is collecting perfect days like seashells. That is still the chase. Our work is not to gather moments, but to abide in what is. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine, ever with me, already thine. The life we are speaking of rests in this everness. It is not made by our effort. It is recognized. I and the Father are one. That is the identity of real living. Out of that oneness, fruitage flows without strain and without noise. In the hours ahead, we will mark 7 simple signs that indicate the phase has changed. Each sign resolves a confusion left over from the fireworks and prepares you for the next step until your life becomes a continuous benediction to those who touch it. But before signs, a foundation must be laid. For all spiritual practice rests on 2 words, only 2 small words that carry the weight of heaven. They will govern our seeing, our speech, and our silence. They will turn your attention from chasing to abiding. We will anchor those words next, and with them, you will cease reaching for tomorrow and stand in what already is. The infinite way is built around a few words. The first of these words is as. Do you see? Not God and you, not God and me. God is you. God is manifest as individual being. That is the end of pleading and the end of separation. I and the Father are one is not a badge you put on in holy hours. It is the fact of your being whether you have felt it or not. When the invisible utters itself, it does not create a second beside itself. It appears the Father as Son, the life as your life. He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. not because a man is God, but because God, the invisible, appears as the sun, the visible. When you behold your own selfhood in that light, you stop trying to drag God into your day. You begin to live God's day as your day. Identity becomes sonship. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear that spoken within before you rise from your chair. Let it define you. Let it end the hyphen of God and me. The second word is. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Abundance is. Omnipresence is. You are not trying to make 2 times 2 equal 4. You are realizing that it already is 4, regardless of your arithmetic mood. So, with God, what is, you will never heal a person or change a condition. You will rest in the isness of God's presence as the only presence, and appearances will adjust as steam disappears when the fire is understood. You discover that prayer is not an attempt to persuade a distant deity. Prayer is the quiet recognition of what already is. As you sit, be still and know, not be frantic and know, not be verbose and know. Words are only auxiliaries to bring thought to a stop. Words sometimes are an interference. Use them to prime the pump. Then listen. Let is speak for itself. From these 2 words, practice becomes very simple. Wherever you find yourself, pause, not long, just honest and silently consent. God as me, God is. In traffic, in a sick room, at the market line, at your desk, God as me, God is. You are not declaring to force a result. You are bearing witness to a fact that does not require your approval, and you will find that your speech simplifies. You will not tell truths at people. You will say, if anything, I will help you, and then stand by in consciousness while the is of God carries its own authority into the scene. Now, how will you know you are not merely repeating phrases? By your life experience, by the fruitage. If, standing in as and is, problems begin to release without argument, if fear yields and provision comes in season, if peace settles, then you have entered maturity. Not a sensation, but a steadiness. Not fireworks, but fruitage. We will look now at the signs by which this shift makes itself known, so that you may trust what is happening and abide in what already is. Do you follow that? Let us be very exact here, because you will be tempted to slip back into moods and call them miracles. The Master gave us no such license. By their fruits ye shall know them. A tree is known by its fruit, not by the rustle of its leaves. Fruitage, then, is the evidence of realization. Fruitage is solved problems. Fruitage is a continuous undercurrent of harmony that does not shatter when clouds pass. Fruitage is lives quietly helped because your presence stood still enough for God to be God. Do you see? What it's like in the day's round? The body calms. Pain yields without a debate club. Supply appears as timeliness needs met before panic rises. Conversations soften. Estranged ones find a bridge where there had been only the memory of offense. You sleep not with the drug of exhaustion, but with the Sabbath that remains for the people of God. Those who come near you discover, often without words, that they can breathe. They do not know why, and you do not explain. That is fruitage. Not a spectacle, not a testimony hour, life evidencing God as life. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Here is the conditional check, simple and merciful. If, as you abide in, as and is, difficulties begin to yield quickly and quietly, realization is present. If the very same difficulties require long arguments, frequent affirmations, and end with you wrung out on the floor, you may be in an emotional jag. It is not a sin. It is simply not yet maturity. Faith without works is dead. Faith without fruitage is daydream. Do you follow that? Make this practical. For 30 days, measure nothing by your highs or lows. Measure by outcomes. Are problems being met with less friction? Are you using fewer words? Are those who ask for prayer returning with thanksgiving rather than repeated crises? Is fear losing its bite? If yes, stay with your simple consent. God as me. God is. If not, return to quiet practice. Prime the pump if you must. Then stop and listen. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. And in ministering, let this be your gauge. When the call comes, accident, diagnosis, loss, do not teach. Say, I will help you. Then stand by in consciousness. If you feel impelled to speechifying, drop it. Be still and know. If the matter moves to rest, you have witnessed IS. If it fans into debate, you have evidence that talk is still your refuge. Adjust, not with guilt, but with sobriety. The fruit will tell you where you are. With this measure in place, by your life experience, by the fruitage, we can safely read the next pages. 7 signs will appear, each resolving a confusion left over from fireworks. You will recognize them not by ecstasy, but by efficacy. They will not make a noise in the street. They will make a life. And then you will not ask, am I awake? You will live, and the fruit will answer. Sign 1 is quiet and obvious once it appears. The chase settles. The craving for visions loosens its fingers. The appetite for peaks ceases to run your day. You do not go from meeting to be lifted like a kite on borrowed wind. You are through testing God with ecstasies, through asking the presence to prove itself with fireworks. Why seek ye the living among the dead? Why search in the graveyard of memories and sensations for the living God? Do you see? You begin to sense that the holy is not more present in a mountaintop hour than it is at your kitchen sink. The measure is not the height of your mood. The measure is fruitage. Practice matures here in the simplest way. You wake. Before the mind reaches for yesterday's diary of highs and lows, you consent God as me. God is. Not to manufacture a feeling, not to coax a dawn-colored aura. To recognize is. You stretch, you eat, you answer the first email, you walk to the train. At each turn, a small altar appears without your arranging it. The altar is your pause. The sacrifice is your will to chase. The prayer is nothing more than, be still and know that I am God. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. As you cut vegetables, you notice no hurry in the hand. As you enter a room, you notice you are already met from within. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. What results? Stability. The violent swings lessen. The day does not pitch you from rapture to despair and back again. The presence feels available without effort because it is not a thing you summon. It is what is. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. abundance is. You are not attempting to light a fire with friction. You are sitting by the hearth that has always burned. Elijah learned this on Horeb. The Lord was not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. When you trust that voice, you stop demanding thunder, because the chase quiets, fruitage increases. Decisions come with less debate and prove themselves right by their issue. Fear announces itself and is received as passing weather, not as law. You find yourself declining entertainments of the spiritual sense nature without loss, because you have tasted the bread that does not crumble. Ordinary hours are no longer empty space to be filled. They are the temple in which God is recognized. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine, ever, already. Do you follow that? And there is another gentle mark. You become less interested in telling anyone what you just felt. You have no need to certify your consciousness with adjectives. The need to report fades as the need to be becomes sufficient. This leads naturally to our next sign. As desire cools into abiding, your speech simplifies. You will find in the day of need that talk decreases and help appears. The tongue yields to presence. The sentence becomes, I will help you, and presence will make it true. Sign 2 appears in your mouth before it appears in your diary. Speech simplifies. The old habit of preaching at pain slips off like an ill-fitting coat. You recognize that words given at the wrong moment are not balm but sand. A friend calls with a diagnosis. A child is in trouble. A stranger meets you in the corridor with eyes like storms. In the awakening phase, you might have hurried to say, there are no accidents in divine mind, or God is love, or recite a page from last night's notes. Do you see? That was the residue of strain. It antagonizes not because the words are false, but because they are unseasoned. Truth is never a slogan. Truth is a presence. What happens now? Compassion replaces formula. Your sentence becomes, I will help you. Only that. And then you stand by in consciousness. You give not a thought to the person or to the tale of the condition. You rest in as and is God as me. God is, and you let the inner hush do the seeing. Be still and know that I am God. Not be quick and prove. Be still and know. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. In this stillness, you discover a law you could not learn from a book. Relief comes without explanation. The shoulders drop. The voice softens. The scene that had been a furnace becomes ordinary air again. No debate occurred. No convincing. Fruitage outstrips conversation. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, a few words, and then silence. You will be tempted to congratulate yourself or to analyze what just happened. Drop it. It is not you. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. Do you follow that? Make this your posture in every call. I will help you. Then close the outer gate. Sit or stand in a corridor or walk slowly to the sink. Anywhere will do, and consent to the one presence, the one power, the one life. Do you need to say much? No. Perhaps a line to prime the pump. God is this scene. God is. And then listen. You are not trying to change a picture. You are resting in what already is. If fruitage appears, peace, solution, right action, say nothing about methods, thank God in the heart and move on. You will notice, as talk quiets, perception clarifies. Because you have refused to fill the air with sentiments you can see, and very soon you will see differently. You will cease to take the report personally. You will recognize that what frightened you was never a person at all, merely the arm of flesh, mesmerism, a belief in two powers presenting itself as a face, a file, a symptom. That is the next sign. For now, let the tongue be brief and the heart wide. Your words decrease while your presence does the work. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. Sign 3 arrives as a change in eyesight. You no longer look out and see culprits and causes. You see through. The belief in two powers begins to fade like stars at dawn. You discover that error is not a person, not a law, not a substance. It is mesmerism, hypnotic suggestion presenting itself as a face, a file, a symptom. Do you see? When fear knocks, it is not someone, it is suggestion. When lack stares, it is not an economy, it is suggestion. When temper rises, it is not your nature, it is suggestion. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. That is, refuse to take the picture for the principle behind it. The Hebrew writers gave us a phrase for this unreality. The arm of flesh. With him is an arm of flesh, but with us is the Lord our God to help us and to fight our battles. The arm of flesh looks like force. It feels like pressure. It announces law, yet it is nothing. Paper muscle, wind with a voice. The snake in the rope. How many times have you jumped in the twilight? And when light entered, you found only a coil of hemp, the non-existent white poodle that sends a street into commotion, and no one can produce it. The streetcar tracks that meet at the horizon and never meet at all. This is the nature of error. It is not something to be battled. It is something to be seen through. Resist not evil is not passivity. It is clarity. You follow that? Here is the method. And keep it simple. When the call comes, disease, debt, danger, give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Drop it. Inwardly, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. Consent to one presence and one power only. God as me, God is. Hold to no picture. Hold to no argument. Behold only hypnotic suggestion dissolving in the light of is. You are not trying to heal a patient or fix a budget. You are recognizing the isness that never fell ill and never went broke. Harmony is, life is, love is, omnipresence is. As you rest there, the picture alters like steam vanishing when the fire is understood. What proves this? Fruitage. The fever breaks without a lecture. The letter from the bank softens into provision or a right reordering. The quarrel that demanded a verdict drains of heat, and two people remember they are better than their moods. Often there is no story to tell. The scene that had been a furnace becomes ordinary air again. Be not afraid, only believe. Believe what? That there are not two powers contending, but one presence being itself, as itself, where a drama had seemed to be. Do you see the mercy in this? When error is impersonal, blame has nothing to feed on. You stop accusing others, you stop accusing yourself. You meet appearances as nothingness, and fear loses its vocabulary. And as this impersonalization holds, a deeper light dawns. If error is not a person, who then are you? Not a troubled human struggling with God at your side, but the Son through whom God appears. Not God and me, but God as me. We will take that up next, for when identity is seen, dominion is no longer a promise, it is your nature. Sign 4 is identity realized. The hyphen drops out of God and me, and a single word remains. As God, as me. Not as boast, not as bravado, but as the only humility there is, self-emptied of self, so that God may appear as individual being. He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. And again, I and the Father are one. Do you see? This does not make a person divine. It beholds the divine as the only person there is. It is hearing within again and again, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, and not arguing back. Consent to that. Let it be true before you can explain it. What confusion does this resolve? Separation. The old posture of reaching out into a sky for a God who might come if sufficiently flattered ends. There is no God to come. There is only God being where you stand as you are. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. All that I have is thine. When this is allowed, provision ceases to be a hunt. Guidance ceases to be a riddle. Supply appears native because it is native. Right action feels like the hand already lifted before thought could claim it. You find yourself moving from pleading to grateful recognition. Less, please, Father, and more. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, even before the stone is rolled away. Do you follow that? In practice, this is as simple as breathing. You open the day not as a beggar, but as sonship embodied. God as me, God is. You answer an email, and the answer answers itself. You step into a difficult conversation and discover that peace arrived 5 minutes early and laid out the chairs. It is the Father that doeth the works. Your words shorten to, I will help you, and the inner assurance completes the sentence because it is no longer an offer from a person. It is the presence of God as the one who stands there. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know fewer delays, fewer detours, a tendency for the crooked to straighten of its own accord. These are the footprints of identity realized. Notice how humility deepens here. To live God as me is to vanish as claim maker and appear as instrument, transparent, available, uninsistent. You neither aggrandize nor apologize. You do not announce status. You bear fruit. When praise comes, it passes through without landing. When censure comes, it too passes through. For the center is no longer personality. It is presence. And because the center is presence, moods begin to quiet. The highs and lows that once ruled your calendar lose jurisdiction. You find yourself unseeing as a habit, not only human evil, but human good as well, refusing to be elated by the one or depressed by the other, beholding instead the steady light behind both. This ushers the next sign. Identity secure. You will discover an evenness, a Sabbath within motion, a joy that does not require weather. You will look out at the same world and see source rather than scenes. That is how the sea calms. That is how joy becomes steady. We will take that up now. For once sonship is embodied, equanimity is not an achievement. It is the way the Son beholds the Father in all. Do you see? Sign 5 appears as a settling of weather. The lightning that once drew you like a moth no longer commands your day. The heart stops bargaining for peaks and accepts the companionship of a low, even flame. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not a fluctuating peace, not a reward for good behavior, but an imparted nature that abides. Do you see? The confusion ends here. Joy is not in the spectacle. Joy is in source. When you behold source beyond appearances, happiness ceases to be a hostage. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, not scattered. Still, not spiking. This steadiness is not indifference. It is discipline. You practice unseeing both human good and human evil. That is, you refuse to be inflated by the one or deflated by the other. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. The bonus, the applause, the pleasant weather, do not worship it. The bill, the diagnosis, the frown, do not fear it. Unsee them as causes. Behold the invisible source as the only cause. The arm of flesh has a loud voice and no substance. Snake in the rope, how real it looks in twilight. When light is brought, there is only rope. So with every rise and fall, peace, be still, is not shouted at storms. It is consent given to the one who never storms. Do you follow that? What, then, is the fruitage, continuity? The sea in you carries small waves, not tempests. Home finds order, not museum order, living order. The drawer that once collected panic now gathers provisions. Finances move from cliff-edge drama to timely sufficiency. Needs are met before fear can write its speech. Health expresses pattern and recovery without theater. Symptoms fade like mist at sunrise because life is, and you stop arguing. Relationships breathe. The tone softens. Forgiveness occurs before a quarrel finds its full vocabulary. You become safe to lean on. People discover that in your presence, they are not asked to climb a ladder of mood. They are invited to rest. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. This is not poetry here. It is demonstration. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. How is it kept? Simply, often in a sentence without sound, God as me, God is. A thought forms that would hurry, you drop it. A thrill offers itself the throne, unsee it. A fear rehearses its lines, close the curtain. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. In a call for help, you say only, I will help you, and within you consent to the steady light that neither flares nor fades. Harmony is, life is. Love is. Omnipresence is. You are not trying to get calm. You are living from the calm that eternally is. Out of this evenness, something new becomes possible. The ear that once strained to declare now begins to hear. Elijah learned it. Not in wind, not in earthquake, not in fire, but in a still, small voice. As the highs and lows subside, receptivity takes the helm. Guidance rises from within, unforced, unmistakable, moving you before you can claim the credit. We turn there next, for when light is steady, listening becomes your life, and the way walks itself. Sign 6 is the turn from saying to hearing. The confusion it resolves is simple. You have believed that spiritual force rises in proportion to your effortful affirmations. You have worked the pump until your arm ached, and sometimes water came. Do you see? Maturity discovers another law. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth my life. When the inner weather steadies, the tongue grows brief, and the ear opens. Faith comes by hearing, not by shouting, not the hearing of ears, but of the heart. The letter yields to spirit. How do you practice this? As always, simply prime the pump if you must. A few lines. God is me. God is. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Then drop it. Be still and know. Sit without agenda. Refuse to manufacture visions. Let even good thoughts pass, like birds crossing your sky. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. In that consent, something changes hands. Initiative moves from you to the one. It will feel like light resting its weight on your shoulders, like a word hovering that is not yours to form, like a pause that becomes command, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Do you follow that? You will notice the effect in small timings. The phone you plan to ignore rings, and you know to answer peace meets you at the other end. The letter you meant to send today waits until tomorrow and arrives exactly when it can be heard. You enter a room with a speech in your pocket and discover that silence does more teaching than your paragraphs. Right action arrives, unforced, given, not engineered. Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, "This is the way, walk ye in it." Sometimes the word is walk. Sometimes it is wait. Sometimes it is say, "I will help you," and then say nothing more. Do not strain for messages. That is the old chase in a quieter costume. If nothing comes, the silence is the message. Remain still. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. When the impulse is from spirit, it carries its own evidence. There is an ease in the act, a lack of self-congratulation, and fruitage follows as night follows, sunset, natural, unargued. Decisions prove themselves by their issue. Doors open without knocking, or they stay shut without regret. Do you see? This listening life is not laziness. It is obedience. It is the Sabbath kept in motion. It is the end of self-declared outcomes. You do your part. Be still. Consent. Attend. And the Father that doeth the works completes the circuit. Very soon you will find that what you receive cannot be contained. It runs over edges you did not know you had. My cup runneth over. Overflow is the signature of spirit. Without fanfare, without announcements, those near you are fed, guided, calmed, and that is where we go next. When listening matures, ministry ceases to be a project and becomes a life, the natural multiplication of fruitage without advertisement. Overflow is the seventh sign. It is what happens when listening becomes your life and the cup cannot help but run over. The confusion ends here. You do not push truth. You do not package it. You do not urge it upon reluctant ears. Help flows quietly. You are moved into places you did not plan. You say little and something more than you act. It is the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. Do you see? A neighbor who would not bear counsel finds her rest while you stand by in consciousness. A co-worker's fear loosens during a silent elevator ride. A child sleeps because your house has become a safe place. You did not campaign for any of this. You consented to as and is, and fruitage appeared. The hallmarks are always the same. Minimal speech, maximal result. Your sentence is still, "I will help you." Then you close the outer door and stand in the inner room. Enter into thy closet, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The reward is not applause. It is demonstration. Fever's quiet. Bills are met when needed. Estrangements find soft ground. Conversations that would have turned into trials end as simple yes and no. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. The kingdom does not arrive with advertisement. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Testimonies accumulate without your arranging them. People return with thanksgiving, and you make no posters of it. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Do you follow that? I witnessed this in a small town where a grievance had ripened into a public quarrel. There were meetings, signatures, the scent of litigation. No platform open to me. None was needed. I took a seat in the back and consented God is this town. God is. No person to blame, no force to fear, only hypnotic suggestion dissolving in the light of is. Within a week, the heat went out of the room. Two who had not spoken shook hands without speech. Funds appeared for the needed repair. No one called it a miracle. Life returned to being life. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. Guard the ethic, or you will lose the thread. Humility keeps the channels clear. I can of mine own self do nothing. Refuse promotion, yours or the works. Do not collect headlines for God. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Freely ye have received, freely give. If someone asks what you did, say only, I will help you, and let it rest. The ministry is God's, appearing as your availability. Your task is to be transparent, to be present, to be quick, to say, I will help you, and quicker still, to be silent. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. As this becomes natural, fruitage multiplies, not as a private garden, but as a field that feeds many. Feed my sheep, not with slogans, not with techniques, but with the realized presence that steadies, heals, provides. You will not manage outcomes. You will bear them. And because overflow relies on a full well, we must now be practical. To keep the cup filled, there must be a rhythm that holds morning, knowing that primes the pump, the listening ear that keeps the stream clear, night receptivity that returns all to the source. This is not a lazy man's work. It is a simple, steady obedience. We will set that rhythm next, so that the overflow remains unforced, and the fruit continues to say all that needs saying. Do you see? Let us set the rhythm that holds the day. Keep it simple. In the first waking, before the mind reaches for yesterday's weather, consciously know God as me. God is. No pleading, no program identity set before activity. Hear the inner word. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And do not argue. Whisper if you wish, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. And then rise into the day under that thankfulness. 2 or 3 breaths are enough. Do you see? You are not summoning God. You are consenting to what already is. Now weave this through your contacts. At meals, pause, not to ritualize, but to recognize. Give us this day our daily bread. Bread is because life is. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Eat as one who partakes of isness. With money, a brief inner stillness. Supply is not coin or credit. Supply is the presence of God as your sufficiency. Drop fear as the arm of flesh. With meetings, step into the room already unseeing persons and temperaments. See only God appearing as the circle. Close the outer eye for a moment, if you can, and inwardly consent God as this. God is. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. When crisis breaks in phone, knock, message, say little. Let your sentence be, I will help you. Then close the door of thought to persons and pictures. Stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. Hold only as and is. Behold, hypnotism's nothingness, the snake in the rope, seen as rope. Do not hurry, solution. Wait for impartation. The still small voice will move you when movement is truth. Sometimes the act is a call. Sometimes it is silence. Sometimes it is a single word, nay. Let yea, yea, nay, nay be the measure. Fruitage will report back without your advertising. Do you follow that? Through the hours, cultivate small pauses at the threshold of a task, a breath. Harmony is, life is, love is, omnipresence is. At the onset of haste, drop it. At the rise of elation, unsee it as cause. At the nip of fear, unsee it as law. This is how pray without ceasing becomes natural, not many words, but many acknowledgments of is. Close the day in gratitude and listening. Commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be still. Review not your failings. Where did practice become presence? Where did you find you had already been led? Thank God for those places. Let shortcomings pass. Without self-accusation, merely note them as opportunities to be more quickly still tomorrow. End as you began. Father, I thank thee. Then listen. If nothing comes, the silence is the benediction. Make this rhythm gentle and steady. This is not a lazy man's work. It is daily. Light on the lips, firm in the heart. Keep to it, and you will discover that living as and in the is no longer asks for effort. It becomes your atmosphere. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. Do you see? Now that the rhythm is set, let us be sober about maintenance. Guardrails matter after the fireworks fade, for subtle hazards appear on quiet roads. Be sober, be vigilant, not frightened, vigilant. 3 edges to avoid: cliché, pride, and drift. Keep these before you, and the way remains clear. First, avoid cliché. Never throw phrases at pain. Do you see? People are not problems to be corrected by sentences. Presence heals, not slogans. Comfort ye, my people, is not an order to lecture. It is an invitation to be a presence of comfort. When grief stands before you, do not say, there are no accidents in divine mind. That is sand in a wound. Say only, I will help you, then stand by in consciousness. A bruised reed shall he not break. That is your measure. Gentleness, not glibness. Words are auxiliaries. Presence does the work. If something is to be spoken, it will be given in the still, small voice. If not, let silence minister. Resist not evil means resist not the picture. Resist the impulse to outtalk it. See through it as hypnotism. Stand still. Let fruitage answer. Second, beware pride. Fruitage is God's. Keep anonymity and gratitude. Do you follow that? I can of mine own self do nothing. When results appear, say in the heart, not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. Refuse to collect reputations. Refuse to publish yourself with trumpets. When thou art bidden, sit down in the lowest room. Take the lower seat. Give thanks and go on. If someone insists on praising you, let it pass through without landing. He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. The minute you begin to think, look what I have done, the spring narrows. Humility keeps the channels clear. Keep your sentence short. Thank you, Father, and your profile invisible. Third, watch for drift. Drift is subtle. It sounds like, I know this, and quietly drops practice. It shows up when results wane, when delays lengthen, when you notice more talking and less peace. Do not panic. Return to basics. Drop everything and enter your inner closet. Consciously know, God as me. God is. Impersonalize the appearance, the arm of flesh. Nothingness. Prime the pump if needed. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Then be still and listen. Do not chase experiences. Do not fix pictures. Abide. Let the one presence declare itself. When the river runs again, act from that flow. Measure kindly. Let outcomes tutor you. Correction without condemnation. Judge not your progress by moods. Judge righteous judgment by fruitage. If a case lingers, take it as instruction, not indictment. Adjust. Simplify speech. Deepen listening. Restore unseeing of human good and human evil. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. That is the tone, mercy, and firmness together. Each day begins fresh. His compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Stay simple. Stay humble. Stay present. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. Do you see? Now let us close as we began simply. The fireworks have served. They were helpful to wake a sleeper, but we are not sleepers now. Real living has begun, and it wears the look of a steady light, not spectacle, not chase. Fruitage. Do you see? You are not leaving anything behind that you need. You are standing in what already is. Be still and know God as you. God is. That is the benediction and the commission in a single breath. Take this sentence as your mantle. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Carry it for yourself until it carries you. Refuse to argue with it. Let it be true before you can define it. And then take it with you into every room for every face. See back of the eye. See the Son of God where a history once stood. Thou seest me. Thou seest the Father, not as human boast, but as the simple fact of one presence appearing as individual being. When you do not find it easy to believe for yourself, believe it for your brother, and in that believing you will discover it was yours as well. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Do you follow that? Keep the rhythm that keeps you morning, knowing God as me. God is. Pauses through the day. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Omnipresence is. Evening receptivity. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Say little to the world. Say only, I will help you, and let presence do the work. Words are auxiliaries. Fruitage will report. By their fruits ye shall know them. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. If delays lengthen, return to the closet. If pride whispers, take the lower seat. If cliché tempts you, be silent and let love appear as you. Go now in quiet confidence. Not confidence in a person, but confidence in the presence that walks as your very being. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. When the call comes, you will not be found searching for a ladder to heaven. Heaven will be found present. The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. Let your communication be gentle, yea, yea, nay, nay. Let decisions ripen in the still small voice. Let the arm of flesh be seen as nothing. Let love do what love always does, appear as you in right action, timely provision, unheralded peace. Live quietly in what is, and let the fruitage testify. Take no thought for reputation. Take thought to be present. If you are moved to speak, let it be gratitude. Father, I thank thee. If you are moved to act, let it be service. I will help you. If you are moved to rest, rest. The kingdom does not come with observation. It is already here. Stand in it, walk in it, share it without announcement. Thank you.